Hey guys and girlies, welcome to another book vlog. Welcome back. If you've joined me before, if you're new here, my name's Sophie and I run the small Etsy business Sophie in Somerset, which is a stationery business. I'm a traditional artist. I turn my stationery into products such as bookmarks, prints, stickers. I'm just about to launch my Bookish merch summer shop update because I am also rediscovering my love of reading, which is why I'm doing these series of vlogs on my channel. So if you clicked on this and you don't normally follow my studio vlogs, hello, this is book vlogs because I've just gotten back into reading. We adopted a little boy about a year ago now. And whilst I've been at home with him, I've rediscovered my love of reading and I've been documenting it here on my channel. So welcome. And we are jumping straight in. So if you watched my last book vlog, I literally turned off the camera, I signed off that vlog and we're going straight back into it with a new vlog. So we have just finished Powerless, which I loved. It's a 5-star read, absolutely adored it, adored the characters. And we are jumping straight back into this video with Powerful, the novella. It's kind of it's in the same time frame. So Powerless is because it's Powerless and Powerful. I'm trying not to get them mixed up. But Powerless is a dual POV between Payden and Kai. Payden's best friend is Adina, and this book follows Adina whilst Payden and Kai are away at the trial. So these are going on at the same time, they're parallel to each other. So little novella. I'm so excited to read this one because I think hopefully it's going to keep me going until the second one, because this is a trilogy. The second book in the trilogy comes out next month. So we're currently on June the 11th. I'm going to try and get better at doing timestamps in my videos because normally my book vlogs span over a couple of months. And in my last book vlog, I failed miserably at tracking how long it was taking me to read books. But it's June the 11th. I finished Powerless this evening. And tomorrow I will be starting Powerful. Like I said, little novella. And if you're new here, I'm also part of a book club in my local town. I am the youngest in the book club by about a couple of decades at least. But I joined the book club in order to kind of broaden my reading range. As I said, I've only just started getting back into reading and I was kind of experimenting in the types of books that I may enjoy. And the best way to do that is to join a book club. So our book club choice for this month is Tiger in the Smoke, which is, I believe it's kind of like a detective murder mystery thriller. I haven't picked it up from the library yet. So the plan is that we'll read Powerful first, and hopefully by the time I finish this one, Tiger in the Smoke will be here and we can read that one, because I try and get the book club done as soon as I get it, because there's obviously a time frame on it, because then we meet up and discuss it all together. And obviously I borrow it from a library, so there is a time limit there. But what I also want to do is I want to get together like a summer reading vibes reading list, TBR list. That's my idea. I had it in my mind what I wanted to read. For example, we read Magnolia Parks together a couple of vlogs ago. I really want to read Daisy Hates next. I've got some Emily Henry ones I want to read, a couple of Ali Hazelwoods. But when I was reading Powerless, there's quite a few ball scenes in it. And I kept thinking about, I've got it up here, it's the first one in the Succession series by Kira Cass. Let me get it for you. And I kept thinking about it. And this is the one I think I want to jump into next, because it kind of is similar vibes. So I'm thinking this is going to have to be on the TBR. And then also I've got kind of Summer's Dream. I've got quite a few books, it's summery vibes. So I think we need to put together a TBR. So that's the plan. And that's how this vlog's going to start out. If you've watched my vlogs before, you'll know that I kind of go on little tangents. I say I'm going to do one thing and then my vibe takes me elsewhere. So we'll see how this pans out. But we're going to start with Powerful. Like I said, I love this book. Like, I love this book. So I really want to stay in the world a bit longer. So we're going to read this one, and then we'll put together a TBR to inspire us. We'll read the book club, and then I will check back in with you, possibly once I finish this one, or maybe once we've read Tiger in the Smoke as well. I'm not quite sure, but I will check back in with you soon, and we'll put together our summer TBR together. Surprise! Powerful is already back on my shelf. Why? Because I read it in one sitting. Now, obviously, it is a novella. It is quite short. It's 244 pages. I've just looked it up. Plus, there is a little sneak peek of Reckless, which is the second in the trilogy of this book. So you have a little sneak peek in. So it's obviously over 244, but the actual story is 244. Anyway, look, I'm just going to it. Coming July 24. We are currently, what date is it? It is currently June the 27th. Because I haven't been doing timestamps. Useless that, as always. It's June the 27th. The next book is due out at the beginning of July. I am so excited. But yes, I read this in one sitting, so I filmed none of it. I think I filmed me opening the book briefly, and then I was gonna like literally sit down next time I put my little boy down to start reading it properly. And then I couldn't sleep, so I came downstairs and I thought I'll just start reading it, and that'll get my eyes tired and I can go back to bed. Well, 3 hours later, I finished it. So I read it in 3 hours. I loved it. 5 stars. 5 stars. I felt a little bit odd, just simply because if you know the story, you know how it's going to end. So this is in the same world as Powerless. I'm going to get confused between Powerful and Powerless. So same world and same time frame. So this book follows Payden and Kai. It's dual POV between the two. This book follows Adina and Mac, again dual POV. So Payden and Kai are in the trials. Adina is Payden's best friend, and Mac is the cousin of another one of the characters that is in the trials in this book. So it follows what they're up to when the rest of the guys are in the trials. So obviously some bits of the story crosses over, certainly the beginning and the end, and a little bit in the middle. So you see a couple of these characters come in. You see Kai, and you also see Kit as well, and briefly Payden. But largely it's what Adina gets up to while Payden's away. I love the interaction between Adina and Mac. I just love them together. I think Adina's such a lovely character. You didn't get to see much of her in this book, and obviously this video is spoiler free, but something happens in this book and you get it from Payden's point of view, and you still feel the emotion because you know how much these characters all mean to each other. But obviously you don't really know Adina so much, so you don't get it from that point of view, whereas in this one you go into it knowing what's going to happen. So again, that is a little bit odd, but it didn't take away the enjoyment. I was worried it's going to take away the enjoyment of the book, but it didn't at all. And by the end you feel it on so many different levels, the same event. I can't really say too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it's such a good book. I see a lot of people moaning that it's too short, that they wish it was the same length as a normal novel rather than a novella. I have to disagree, actually. Not that I couldn't read a whole book of these characters. I absolutely could. I'm a bit gutted I'm not going to see them together again. But because we do know the outcome, I don't think there was any point in dragging it out for this long a book. I think this was the right length. But I really, really enjoyed it. 5 stars, 5 stars. And I'm so excited for Reckless. But of course, we can't read that yet. A, it's not here, and B, I have a book club to read. So let's move on to the book club read. It is Tiger in the Smoke. I can't remember if I've said that. Let's read that one, and then hopefully we can get on to maybe looking at our summer TBR and start some other books that's on the shelf. But yeah, would highly, highly recommend and can't wait for Reckless. Okay, so my thoughts on the Tiger in the Smoke so far. I'm about halfway through. The total page count number is 316, and I'm currently on page 142, chapter 8. It's quite a cute little small copy, which is quite sweet. I love or maybe love's a bit too strong a word. I like the concept, the story. I was explaining it to my husband the other day, and he said, well, if that was the kind of show that was on TV, he'd definitely watch it, because he's into all of like the murder mysteries and thrillers and stuff. So he would definitely watch it if it was on TV. I think my problem is that this book was published just after the Second World War, and that's where it's also set. Tiger in the Smoke relates to the smog that was over London just after the war. If you've watched The Crown on TV, they did a good portrayal of what the smog over London was like in the kind of early 1950s, I think, or late 40s, early 50s. Anyway, so that's when it was set and when it was written. So the writing, not that I always have trouble with historical writing, because I quite like reading classics such as, Jane Austen's obviously 1800s, but things like Daphne du Maurier and things like that. So I don't always have an issue with historical writing, but this writing I'm really struggling with. So I find myself skipping over descriptions and just reading more so the dialogue. I'm enjoying the dialogue. I'm enjoying some of the characters. It's a real, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. So basically, it is this. So you start off with this couple, Meg and Jeffrey. They're newly engaged. Their engagement has just been announced in the newspapers. And so Meg is a war widow. She's been a war widow for the last 5 years. She's still only 25, so she was widowed very young. But because she got married during wartime, she married her husband, and then he went straight off back to war, and he only had like a couple of 1 week's leaves periods during their marriage. So she really didn't know her husband very much at all. And then he was reported missing, presumed dead. And she's been living as a war widow the last 5 years. So now she's ready to remarry. But ever since they announced their engagement in the newspaper, she's been sent multiple photographs featuring a gentleman who she believes may be her husband, who's portraying to be her husband, who looks exactly like him. But he's in places around London, but the photographs are taken in such a way that, for example, he'd be standing in front of a cinema with a particular film on the titles. to basically say, well, this is happening now. This isn't a historical photograph. This photo was only taken a couple of days ago, alluding to the fact that her husband is still alive. And now the police are involved, and you follow this detective. So similar to kind of Agatha Christie with Poirot and Miss Marple, this author, Margery Allingham, has this particular detective. This isn't the first time this detective has been in books. So this is like detective number whatever the books are featuring him. So he's in quite a few of her books, but they're all standalone, very much like Agatha Christie. So he's trying to decipher what's happening. I'm halfway through now, and we've had another gentleman who has escaped from prison. I think he's going to be quite pivotal in the story. We've had several different murders happening, and you're trying to piece together what is the purpose, why are they being sent these photographs, what are they trying to achieve, and how is all of these interconnected threads kind of tied together like a standard detective novel. So it's intriguing. I want to know what happens. Again, I was telling the story to my husband. He said it would make a good TV show. I agree. It's a really good plot. I'm not a fan of the writing, though. I'm not particularly attached to the characters. I'm more intrigued to see what happens, but I don't necessarily care that much. But I don't hate it. That's not really a glowing recommendation, is it? Well, I'm halfway through, but like I said, that's because I'm skipping a lot of the kind of descriptions. So at this point, I probably wouldn't recommend it, but we'll carry on through. This is why I'm part of a book club, as I keep saying, to broaden my horizons, to read books I wouldn't ordinarily read. So we'll see. So I'm going to carry on with this one. My book club is in a few days, actually, so I haven't got long to kind of finish this one before book club. I think I will do it though. And so I will probably chat to you again once I finish this one and once I've gone to book club, so I can say to you, I can let you know what my fellow book club members thought, because they're of a different generation and they may view it slightly differently. So I'll let you know what they think, and then I'll let you know what the next book's going to be. And also, as soon as we finish this, because I don't know what book I want to read next, I'm not 100% sure, I want to make a summer TBR list, and then we can decide on our new book together. So I will check in with you again once I've finished The Tiger in the Smoke. Oh, before I go, actually, there was a couple of quotes that I quite like that I want to read to you. So I don't hate the writing. There are a couple of things. So literally the first paragraph, I thought was quite beautiful when they were describing the flog. So I'll just read the first paragraph to you. "It may be only blackmail," said the man in the taxi hopefully. The fog was like a saffron blanket soaked in ice water. It had hung over London all day and at last was beginning to descend. The sky was yellow as a duster, and the rest was a granular black, overprinted in grey, lightened by occasional slivers of bright fish colour as a policeman turned in the wet cape. I thought that was it very set the tone of the book, of what you expect from a detective novel. And then there was a little piece here. So Meg's father is a canon, so a member of the church, and he made a really nice quote here. So he's widowed, and obviously Meg is a widow as well. And he said here, "Well, it's an evil thing, this attempt to reverse the process of mourning." The canon stepped back onto his own territory and became a different being. "Mourning is not forgetting," he said gently, his helplessness vanishing and his voice becoming wise. "It is an undoing. Every minute tie has to be untied and something permanent and valuable recovered and assimilated from the knot. The end is gain, of course, Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be made strong in fact. But the process is like all other human births, painful and long and dangerous. This attempt to reverse it when the thing is practically achieved, that is, wicked, an attempt to kill the spirit. The poor fellow, whoever he is, has no idea what he's doing. That's obvious. And I just thought that was, he was talking about obviously grief and mourning, and how obviously these photographs being shown to Meg is kind of undoing all the mourning that she's already tried to process. But I thought it was a beautiful way of describing grief and mourning, that you're slowly trying to untangle and undo all of these knots. That you've all these memories and a life that you spent with that person. So I thought that was quite beautiful. So there was a couple of things I just wanted to share with you, so I don't hate the book. But yeah, I will join you again once I've finished it. Okay, so I have finally finished The Tiger in the Smoke by Margery, Allingham. What star rating has it ended up as? It is a 2. It did pick up a little bit. I think last time I spoke to you, I wasn't too sure how I felt about it, but there were a couple of quotes that I read out. And then it picked up pace a little bit. I was enjoying it more. Again, the plot's really good, which is why I've given it the 2 stars. Plot's really good, but then there was a period of time where you switched from following Meg and the police officers, inspectors, to going with the gang and Jeffrey, and that just really slowed it for me. I liked the character of Havoc, which is the gentleman who escapes from prison. Not that I like him because he's quite a nasty character, but I like how he was portrayed. It was interesting following him. And I like Meg as well. But I found it quite confusing when you were with these kind of gang of like kind of robbers, like misfits. When you were with them, they had quite confusing names. And yeah, I struggled to follow it, and it slowed the pace down. So it's a 2 stars. The ending was a bit odd as well. I felt like it was all wrapped up pretty quickly. And yeah, the ending was a bit odd. I said I would say what my book club thought of it, and they agreed. Everyone agreed for once. Everyone agreed that it was a bit confusing. The plot was a good idea, but the story was a bit confusing. And yeah, it was a bit of a like, meh. So this is completed. It's a 2 stars. And our next book club read is a suggestion that I gave. It's not Fourth Wing, but it is, oh my God, my mind has gone completely blank. What is it? It is The Great Gatsby. Wow, tumbleweed moment or what? The Great Gatsby. So some of my book club have already read it. I've never read it. There's me moaning about kind of old classic books, and then me wanting to read The Great Gatsby. But I'm really intrigued to see what it's like, what it's about. I haven't watched the film either, so I really don't know much at all, other than it's set in the 1920s, I think. So yeah, I'm just really intrigued. So I'm excited to read that one next. But seeing as we've finished this one now, and my book club next one isn't in the library yet, we've got time to start another book. And as you have just seen, we went on a little bit of an impromptu book trip. We weren't necessarily planning it, but My son needs some new shoes. He had grown out of his old shoes. We need to go and get his feet measured. And we go to this place. If you're in Somerset, it's called Clark's Village. It's like an outlet shopping centre. Not centre, it's kind of a group of shops in what they call a village, outdoors. Anyhow, if you know it, you know it. And there is a shop called The Works there. There is a lot of these shops around, but this is a particularly good one for books. It's quite a decent sized one. Anyway, I digress. I went there. You saw what I bought. So we need to put those books on the shelves. And also, because I am doing a summer shop update on my Etsy store, I'm introducing some more downloads, and I'm doing a download where you can track your summer reading progress. So I want to do my own summer TBR list. So we're going to look through the shelves, some of the books that I've recently bought and some other ones that's on my shelf anyway, it has like kind of summer vibes. And we're going to fill in the summer TBR list. If you like the digital download I'm about to use, it is available on my shop for just £1. It will be available from the 27th of July, little plug there. But let's have a look at the summer TBR list. Let's do our summer TBR, find homes for our new books, and then we will start reading our next book. I don't know what it is yet. I'm going to have a look through my shelves and we'll start reading together. So guys, we've done our summer reading tracker. I found it hard to put into order the ones that I wanted to read, because basically there's just so many on my TBR now that I want to read, especially all those new ones that I've just bought. But I limped down to the 6 on here, and these are going to be my next 6. I've started Happy Place. I'm actually well over halfway now. I am on page 272 and chapter 28. I'll give my thoughts on that in a moment, because I thought we'd do the mid-year book tag. So it is the 2nd of July. I can't believe we're in July already. So over halfway through the year, and I've been seeing loads of people do their mid-year book tag. So I thought it'd be a great way of giving my thoughts on this one and some of the other books on my TBR, and kind of rounding it all up. So the first one on the mid-year book tag, I've got the questions down here, so I'll keep looking down. Number of books read this year so far. So I've read 24 books so far, which literally blows my mind, because as you know, if you've been following my vlogs, I'm just getting back into my reading after not reading for so many years. So the thought that I've read that many books so far this year, and we're only just halfway through the year, is mind-blowing to me. As I keep saying, it is becoming more and more challenging to find times to read as my little boy's getting older and more active. But I do just love reading so much, and it is a priority for me to try and find time for that. So I have to keep trying to find those pockets of time. But yeah, so my goal for this year was 30 books. So if I carry on like this, I'm going to absolutely smash it, which is amazing, because like 24 books, that's more books than I read all of last year. So really, really happy with that one. Best book so far. So hard. So it would either be Magnolia Parks or Powerless. I think I'm going to have to go with Powerless, because I am really enjoying Powerless. I love Powerless, and I love the novella. I read the novella in one sitting, like I've just said. Yeah, I love the world and the world building, and I can't wait to get back into that world very, very soon. So I would have to say that's probably my favourite. But I've got my Daisy Hates book sitting here. it's not on my summer TBR, and it killed me not to put it on my summer TBR because like I'm so waiting for this book, but it needs to be the right sweet spot time. And I've got a holiday in September, and I think that's going to be going on holiday with me. So can't wait. The Magnolia Parks book is upstairs at the moment because I'm actually doing some fan art for it at the moment, which you'll probably see in a studio vlog if you watch my studio vlogs. Best sequel. I guess the best sequel that I read would probably be Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. So this is a sequel to Divine Rivals. And I actually preferred this one to Divine Rivals. There's a lot of mixed reviews on this one. And a lot of people do prefer the Divine Rivals book rather than Ruthless Vows, but actually it's the other way around for me. This is Enemies to Lovers, and I said before previously, I felt they went from Enemies to Lovers too quickly. I'm a bit more of a slow burn kind of girl. Whereas this one, yes, there was more about the myths and the gods and the world building, but I actually enjoyed that, and it was about them trying to find their way back to each other, and I really loved that concept. I thought it was more unique than this kind of storytelling. So this, I would think this is my best sequel, and for once I prefer the sequel to the first one, which is unusual. New release yet to read. It's one that I recently purchased, and it is on my summer TBR, and that is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Now, I haven't read any of Elsie Silver's previous books, and you would have seen I also bought Elsie Silver's Flawless, which is the first book in this series. And because I didn't want to get all the books, I was tempted to buy, because it was like 3 for £6, something ridiculous, but I didn't want to invest in loads if I didn't enjoy it. So I thought I would get the first one of this series, but this is a new series that she's starting for this one. And the Rose Hill series, and I've seen lots of good things about it. It's a cowboy romance. I've never read a cowboy romance actually, but you would have seen I purchased some other cowboy romances. I got The Swift and Saddled and Down and Dusted by Lila Sage as well. So I'm really going all in with the cowboy romances because I do feel that I will enjoy it. So I think it was a kind of a good punt, but this is a new release. It's literally just recently come out. I know the second one is meant to be coming quite soon, sometime this year. So this is on my summer TBR because I want to read this one to know whether or not to get the next one. So that's a very exciting new release that I am yet to read, but it is on my summer TBR, so hopefully we'll get to that very, very soon. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year, so for now. And this book arrived in the post yesterday. It's Reckless, Laura Roberts, the next book in the Powerless series. Now, on my summer TBR, I've got it as a third book, so I'm reading Happy Place now. Then I was this is my book club next read, The Great Gatsby, and then I was going to have Reckless down here. But I did go to the library yesterday. I took back my previous book, and The Great Gatsby isn't in yet. So, and seeing as almost done with Happy Place, I might just have to read this one next. What a travesty. So excited. I did a little score when it arrived. My husband thought I'd gone mad. Can't wait for this one. Can't wait to see what happens with Payden and Kai. Can't wait to get back in this world. So excited. Enough said. So the biggest surprise would probably be from my Narnia series, which is right at the top, so I won't grab that now. I gave 5 stars to The Magician's Nephew. Now, in hindsight, is it still a 5 stars? I can't tell you everything that happened in that book, so probably it would be like a 4.5, 4.75. But I went into those Narnia books, so backstory, if you haven't read my previous book vlog, please go back and watch it, because I read all of the Narnia books throughout Lent this year, so in the run up to Easter, and I wasn't sure how I was going to like it. Obviously the writing style is older because it's written quite a long time ago, written just after the Second World War, and it's the kind of the prequel to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and it's how Narnia came to be. And I loved it. And I did, yeah, I can't put it into words. Please go back and watch that vlog because you'll get my thoughts as I'm reading it. But it was the biggest surprise to me. I thought my favourite book in that series would be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and it really wasn't. It was The Magician's Nephew, probably with Last Battle being my second favourite, possibly. See, I can't even remember. It's such a blur now. Go back and watch the vlog if you haven't. So, favourite new author? Lauren Roberts. It's hard to believe that this is her. Like, Powerless was her first ever book published, and the world building, the way she writes the characters, the way she writes the dialogue, is just amazing. I cannot believe that this is her first time writing. I have to say, now reading Emily Henry, I can see why people rave about her writing. Beautiful, beautiful writing. But Lauren Roberts is my fave. Is probably this series of books is probably going to go down as one of my favorite all-time series. Yeah, can't rave about it enough. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. New fictional crush. Without repeating myself with Kai, I actually do think Win in Happy Place has it. So, like I said, I'm well over halfway now. Haven't got much left. I love Emily Henry, not Emily Harvey. Emily Harvey Art is a fellow small business owner of mine, but Emily Henry, I love her writing. It's beautiful, beautiful writing. I can see why people rave about it. And if you're an aspiring author, I would absolutely be underlining and tabbing it because she writes such beautiful writing. Even I'll like read you the first little bit. So this is like chapter 1. It's like, this is the real opening. A cottage on the rocky shoreline with knotty pine floorboards and windows that are nearly always open. The smell of evergreens and brine wafting in on the breeze, and white linen drapes lifting in a lazy dance. The burble of a coffee maker and the first deep pull of cold ocean air as we step out onto the flagstone patio, steaming mugs in hand. Like, what a way to set the scene. Absolutely beautiful. I would say with this book, because I'm going to use this little bit now to go how I'm thinking about this book so far, I find myself skimming. So it goes back and forth with the timeline. So you have Win and Harriet, who were engaged and who have recently split up. Win dumped her over like a 4-minute phone call, even though they've been together for years and years. But they have a group of shared friends, and they always go away to Harriet's Happy Place every summer. And they haven't broke the news to their friends yet that they've split up. Anyway, they plan Harriet's friends plan a surprise trip, and basically they end up there together, and they have to fake date whilst they're there because they don't want to ruin the weekend for all their friends. So they are Harriet's totally heartbroken, but they're still pretending to be in a couple. So you can probably you can tell where the storyline's going to go. Like, you can tell at the start that they're probably going to end up together. I haven't read the end now, so I don't know if that's for certain, but I'm guessing probably. Even before I started, I probably guessed that was going to happen. So you go through 2 time frames: the present day, where they're kind of struggling to kind of be around each other, to try and pretend that they're a couple when really they hate each other, and then going backwards in time, seeing how they got together, how they got engaged, their lives together, and eventually how they came to break up. And I find myself skimming the past tense. I am loving how they're interacting now. I'm loving how they're trying to live together, and they're kind of the things they get up to and their conversations. I'm lapping that up, and I get frustrated when it goes backwards in time. I mean, personally, if I was writing it, I don't think I would necessarily do that, because I think there's a ways of telling that story without having to go back there. So it's a little bit frustrating for me, and maybe that's a controversial opinion, because I know this is like 5 stars for like so many people, like basically everyone that I've seen on on BookTok and BookTube have said that this is 5 stars. For me, it's not 5 stars. It's still like a 4-star. I'm really loving it. Again, Wynne is my fictional boyfriend in here because his acts of service is on point. The way he still shows that he cares in the little things that he does. The way he's a very touchy-feely person, so physical touch is his love language. It's beautiful, and I think he's amazing. So I really love him as a character, but I don't necessarily love how the storyline's portrayed. But I'm still excited to see the end, and it's still a 4-star, sitting at the 4 stars for me. Whether or not we'll get any higher as we go on, who knows? But Wynne is my fictional boyfriend, or fictional crush is the thing. Book that made you cry. It isn't here because I've actually sold it, but it was If He Had Been With Me. I think that was like my first book vlog on here that I read that one. If you know, you know. It did make me cry. It did give me all the feels, but equally wasn't that greatly written book, in my opinion. Book that made you happy. Powerful, the little novella that I read in one sitting. I just had a great time just sitting down here at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 till 6 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't even notice what the time was. Amazing time. Love that book. That's the best time I've had reading a book in a long time. Not even looking up, not even looking at the clock, just literally going straight through. Absolutely loved it. Most beautiful book. Now, I don't have any first editions or anything like that in these recent books, but I would probably say, excluding like my classics that are up here, my most beautiful book is Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings. And I think all of the Magnolia Park series of books, the original covers are beautiful. I don't even know why they've redone it into other book styles now, but I think this is absolutely beautiful, and I will be collecting all of these original covers because I think they are stunning. Book on my TBR, well, that is the summer TBR that I've just done. So we have got Happy Place by Emily Henry, The Great Gatsby, but I think next it will be Reckless, just simply because Great Gatsby hasn't come in the library yet, and I can't let this just sit here without reading it. And then we'll go on to Wild Love. And then Love Redesigned. So I actually picked this up from my local secondhand bookshop just before the sequel came out, because I bought the sequel when we went shopping the other day. So I want to read Love Redesigned so that I can then read the sequel. And then one that's been on my bookshelf for ages, Summer's Dream. It's in the Chocolate Box Girl series by Cathy Cassidy. Haven't read anything by this author before. It's simply on here for mood reading because it's Summer Dream and I need to read it in the summer for summer vibes. Goes without saying. So this is our TBR. This is what it's going to look like, and I'm going to try and stick to it. I know I'm notoriously bad at sticking to my TBRs. I'm very much a mood reader. I'll set out what I'm going to read, but then something else takes my eye and I go off track. But I will try and keep to this. So we are now going to finish Happy Place, and then we are going to go on to Reckless before Great Gatsby comes in at the library. So I probably won't check in with you until we're through this one, and I'll give you an update on what star rating I finish on this one. And when we're back in the lovely world of Ilya with Payden and Kai. So I will check in with you soon.
And I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again.
Okay, so I wasn't originally going to chat to you again until I had finished Reckless. I'm not even kind of a quarter of the way through it yet, maybe a quarter just. But I need to debrief the review on Happy Place because I finished it about maybe just under a week ago. Where are we now? We're now the 11th of July. And I think last time I spoke to you, I still had like the last quarter to go. And I said to you, I wasn't 100% feeling it as much as what I thought I would. I was skimming through parts, and that was still true. But I think because they kept going backwards to kind of tell the story about how initially Win and Harriet got together, but then how they broke up and what's been happening since. And I just wanted to be in the moment where they're fake dating for their friends, where there's still obviously feelings there, but there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of miscommunication, and you really just want to bang their heads together and say, you are obviously still in love with each other. But they were like, oh, we love each other, but it wouldn't work, blah, 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 blah. And I just wanted to be in that moment. I didn't want to keep going backwards, so I kept skimming those parts. But obviously, when we got towards the end, you went back in time less, you were more in the present, and I just ate it up. I raced through the last bit of the book, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. And because I do the star rating on Goodreads pretty much straight afterwards, because I like to update my currently reading shelf on there. And on Goodreads, it's really annoying because you can't do half stars. So I put it as a 4-star because in my mind, it was kind of like 4.5, maybe edging on 4.75. But not 5 because I was skimming parts. I can't really give a 5-star to a book that I'm skimming parts of it. Or so I thought. But I think for me, what makes a book a 5-star read is if it has that certain magic where you can't stop thinking about it after you finished it. And I have not been able to stop thinking about this book, thinking about Harriet and Win predominantly, their relationship and the ending. And I even went on forums to read what other people thought of this book. And you can tell that's how I really like a book, that I actually go on and take the time to read other people's opinions. And there was a lot of mixed reviews about the ending. Some people didn't think it was believable, but I actually do think it's believable. Maybe it's just because I'm a more creative person myself. I don't want to say too much because obviously I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But I thought it was completely believable, and I loved the ending, and I couldn't have wrote a better ending for them, actually. And I can't stop thinking about them. So now in my mind, do I change my rating? Because for me, that's 5-star magic. But then can you really give 5 stars to a book where you've skimmed parts of it? I don't know. So what I'm thinking is, this is a book I'm going to revisit. There are lots of other ones on my TBR, so I'm probably not going to revisit for a while. But I kind of feel like I think the reason I was skimming parts of it was because I just wanted to know what happened. I didn't want to go back in time. I was like, just tell me what's happening now. It's like when somebody's telling you a story where they're like, oh yeah, last week, or was it Tuesday? Or was it Wednesday? And you're like, I don't care what day it was, just tell me what happened. I was kind of like that with this book. So maybe now that I know what happens, if I read it again, I would actually be able to fully enjoy the time travel bits of it. So yeah, it's one that I think if I reread it, it may be a 5 stars. But I absolutely loved it. And I needed to tell you that. So I needed to come on here and debrief on it because it's all I've been thinking about. And I don't want to keep boring my husband about my thoughts on it. So that was amazing. So Reckless, I'm currently on chapter 12. And interestingly, this is Kit's point of view. So previously in Powerless, you only had Payden and Kai's point of view, but now we're getting Kit's point of view as well, which is really intriguing. I'm enjoying it. I have to say, at the moment, I'm maybe not enjoying it as much as Powerless and Powerful. However, that can change. I'm still very invested. The last chapter I've just finished ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. So like I'm really eager to go back and read some more of it. Enjoying being back in this world, enjoying being back with Payden and Kai predominantly, although Kit is also a great character. And I'm expecting, so I know that this is a trilogy, so this is book 2, so there's going to be a book 3, so this is obviously not everything's going to be resolved. It's probably going to throw up more things, and it's probably going to end on a cliffhanger again. So it's a bit of a weird one when you're reading book 2, when you know there's going to be a book 3, because normally when you're reading a book or like a standalone, say, you're expecting everything to be wrapped up, whereas this one you know it's not going to be wrapped up. But yeah, enjoying it, but not maybe the hype for it was too big. I don't know, but I am enjoying it. So when I've read a bit more, I will get back to you and let you know my thoughts on it. I went to the library the other day, and my Great Gatsby book is still not in yet. So we'll have to see if I finish this and Great Gatsby still isn't in. My library system had the computer system all updated, and ever since then it's been a nightmare trying to get books. So if it still isn't in by the end of this one, we'll have to go back to our summer TBR and get another one off the shelf. Oh, what a struggle. Not, there's so many books I need to read. So yeah, let's go back to Reckless and see where Payden, Kai and Kit takes us next. Okay guys, so now it's the 24th of July. I have finished Reckless and I am not quite halfway through Gatsby. I'm on page 54 because there is a massive kind of introduction because this is one of the modern classics. So I'm actually only on 54 of the actual story, but it's almost halfway through the book. So it's a bit deceptive with this one. But anyway, before I go on to Gatsby, let's talk about Reckless. So I think, was I halfway through last time I checked in with you? I finished this one off whilst watching the Euros final, which wasn't a good idea really, because obviously England lost against Spain. So that wasn't great, and the book wasn't great. No, to be fair, the last bit of the book was the best part, I think. I think the right at the start was good and right at the end was good. I think I shared I filmed some clips of some quotes from the book that I really enjoyed. And you can see, like, I have dog-eared a few pages in the book, but there's massive chunks where I haven't dog-eared any. And that's because I felt like this book just repeats itself quite a lot. So, you start off with Kai pursuing Payden, and then he's taking Payden back to Kit. So it goes between Payden, Kai, and a bit of Kit's point of views. And, you'd have this moment between Payden and Kai where they kind of admit their feelings and they have this moment. And then whatever turmoil or trouble they're in at that moment in time is resolved, they kind of then just forget that ever happened. And then that repeats a couple of times. I just kind of feel like it's like when somebody gets a 3-book deal and they just need an excuse to write a second book for the 3-book deal. Do you know what I mean? It was like this whole book was just setting up for the third one. Like, you didn't really need this book. It could have been a duology, I feel. Obviously, I don't know what's going to happen in the third book. It does leave it on a cliffhanger. But yeah, so it's a real disappointment because I loved the first one. I really loved the novella. And this one is a bit of a disappointment. It was lovely to be back in that world. That's not taking anything from Lauren Roberts' writing. Like I said, some of the quotes that I shared was lovely, but just not a lot happened, and it was a bit boring in places. So yeah, so I think I just gave this one a 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars because I like the writing. I still love the characters. I like being back in that world. But the plot, there really wasn't much of one, so disappointing. So now we're on to The Great Gatsby. I do enjoy the writing in this book, considering it's an older book. I don't know when it was written. I probably can find it, but obviously it's set in the 1920s. When was it originally first published? 1926. So it's set in the 20s. It was published in the 20s. So you got that kind of vibe. But we've just met Gatsby for the first time. It's from a male protagonist point of view. He's Gatsby's next door neighbour. And we've just gone to his first party there, and he's met Gatsby for the first time, who's a very mysterious, intriguing character who has all of these lovely parties. So yeah, I don't know anything about this book, so I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'm very intrigued. Like I said, it's not a very big one, and most of that was the introduction. So I don't think it's going to take me long to do this one. This might be the last book of this vlog because I think all of my book vlogs are pretty long videos on here. But at the end of this vlog, I do want to show you my new Bookish merch range that's coming to the shop. It comes to the shop this Saturday. So it's the 24th of July now, and it launches on Saturday, which is the 27th of July. So this video is going out beginning of August sometime. So it will be out by the time you watch it. So I want to go through all the merch with you. So let's finish off Gatsby, and I can show you the Bookish merch. And then I can talk you through also some plans for the next book vlog. But yeah, let's finish off Gatsby. Okay guys, so we finished The Great Gatsby, and you just see me pick up Summer's Dream, the part of the Chocolate Box Girl series by Cassidy. Never read anything by this author before, but more about that in a second. I just want to finish off where we left off from last time, The Great Gatsby. I've now finished this one, and it landed on a 3-star for me. I really enjoyed the writing. I didn't know anything about this book to begin with. All I knew was, I haven't even seen the film, but I knew that the film was out there with, I think it was Leonardo DiCaprio playing Gatsby. I knew like this, it's 1920s and all the glamour and the glitz of parties, but I didn't know anything about the story. And it took some twists and turns that I didn't expect, which I really enjoyed. I didn't see the ending coming, or how it went. I didn't see Gatsby's character being as it was. Again, this is a spoiler-free videos on this channel, so I'm not going to say any more, but I would recommend it. Does it live up to all the hype? Because I feel like The Great Gatsby, there is hype around it, and obviously this is a Penguin modern classics, so it's considered to be one of these books that really like you should read. Probably not, although the writing was good. But having said that, it's a really short book, so I mean, I think it's always worth a punt. So I'm glad I read it, basically, but it is a 3 stars, and I wouldn't read it again. But I am glad that I read it. So that's my book club one done. I'm meeting with the book club next week, actually. So in the next vlog, I'll be able to share with you the next book that we're going to be doing, but I don't know what book that's going to be yet. So I will find out next week. And then I picked up Cathy Cassidy's Summer's Dream. Now on my, because I've got my summer reading tracker here that we did together, it was actually at the bottom. But I decided to read this one next just because I finished this one quicker than I thought I would. And I knew I wanted to close out the vlog today on here. But I thought I might as well like read this one because it's quite short, so I can squeeze in one more book into this vlog. And I started reading it, and I got to, this is where, can you see where my bookmark is there? Just bookmark is on page 33, chapter 5. And I am going to DNF this one. So it was a promising start. I mean, I love the cover. It's very, very pretty. And I almost bought the whole series. So I've had this book for ages. As you can see, like kind of by the mottling, it was an old book before it even came to me. I bought it because of the cover, Cardinal Sin. But and then in the works, which is where I get a lot of my books from, I found they had the whole chocolate box series, because that's the series this is part of. And I almost bought the whole set, but I thought, no, I will hold off and see what I think of the one that I've already got. And I'm so glad I did, because although I really enjoyed the writing, I, kind of was immersed in it straight away. It is young adult, which again doesn't normally bother me, but this is very young adult. So I think Summer is 13 in this book. Also, trigger warnings for eating disorders in this book. Just to make you aware. But yeah, it was too much on the young side for me. But I would recommend it to tweens or teens. So if you've got any younger sisters or friends or daughters, I would definitely recommend it because the writing was beautiful. But it was just too young for me. And now the further I'm going on with my reading journey, I don't want to waste time on books that I'm not enjoying, unless obviously it's like a book club read, which I will persevere with those because I want to discuss them at my book club. But yeah, it's a shame. But the book, look at the hardcover inside the jacket, how beautiful that is. But yeah, so this is a DNF for me. So it's a shame to end the video on a DNF, but we still have our reading tracker to go. So on the summer reading tracker, which is now available on my shop as of today, it's July the 27th. My summer update went live this morning, so you can get this reading tracker for yourself, only £1. I have Wild Love and Love Redesigned is the next 2 books that we'll be reading. So we'll be carrying on the reading tracker. And before I close out the vlog, I said I was going to show you some of my physical products. That is now available in the shop. So we have this Swifties inspired In My Reading Area acrylic bookmark. Yeah, it's acrylic, and it's got this friendship bracelet on the thing, on the kind of charm. It says Bookish Era, and you can have it on your wrist so you don't lose your bookmark, and it's like the Taylor Swift inspired friendship bracelet. So that's come to the shop. We have a Powerless sticker pack. There's 6 stickers in here. 3 are plain, just with kind of forget-me-not flowers, if you know, you know, and a dagger. But then we also have some of the quotes from the books as well. These are on vinyl sticker paper. There is also a Powerless reading tracker that you can download as well. I have a Magnolia Park sticker sheet. As you can tell, it's got some of our favourite quotes on there. Painful things can still be beautiful things. How's the weather, Parks? How many loves do you get in a lifetime? And this is my favourite. I down and out love her in all spectrums of light, even the absence of it. So this sticker sheet is available, as is Magnolia Park's print. As I kept saying, I wanted to do a print of Magnolia's outfit, so these are inspired by the outfits in the first book by Jessa Hastings, which is here. And then I also have another print, book lover print, again inspired by Emily Henry's book. Where is it? Book Lovers. So this is a original painting I did. And this is also available in an A5 print, so you can have A4, A or A5. There's lots more in the shop, so please go and check it out. I'm going to link my Etsy shop down below. Please go and check it out. But with that being said, I'm going to, as always with my reading vlogs, I'm going to end the vlog here. I'm going to start my next one straight away. Jump straight back into the next one, where we'll be starting with Wild Love. So look forward to joining you again next time. Thank you for watching as always. Please give it a like, thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next reading vlog. Thank you very much, and I will see you soon. God bless. Love you. Bye.